Hello, everyone. It's Michelle here from IELTS Advantage, and today we are going to run through a mock speaking test with Reena. Reena has kindly volunteered for this, and all we're going to do is we're going to run through the test the same as it would happen in an actual test. So, Reena, I'll be asking you the questions and you'll be answering, and I'll be taking some notes, and this is the only difference. Now, in an actual IELTS test, the examiner doesn't take notes, but I'm going to give you some feedback on your scores and your mistakes at the end. So I'm going to take some notes for that.
Okay.
Have you got a pen and paper ready for part 2?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
All right, then let's begin. Hello, my name is Michelle. Can you tell me your name, please?
Hi, ma'am. I am Reena Fini.
Thank you.
You can call
And
me Reena.
thank you, Reena. And where are you from?
I'm from India, but currently I'm working in Saudi Arabia.
Thank you. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about your hometown. Do you live in your hometown?
Actually, no, ma'am. My hometown is in Kerala, but I personally am working in Saudi Arabia as a staff nurse. So when I talk about my hometown, it's in Kerala. It's called Pathanapuram. It's a place called Pathanapuram. It's a dazzling city. I like my hometown.
What did you enjoy doing in your hometown when you were a child?
Actually, when I was a child, I likes to play there because especially we have many parks there near to my hometown. So usually I was going there almost all the weekends.
How do you think your hometown will change in the future?
I hope, mom, in the future, the infrastructures it would be changed a lot because nowadays the hospitals and the schools are very less in very less in my hometown. So I think in the future there will be more schools and the hospitals will be developed there.
Would you recommend your hometown to foreign travelers?
Yes, of course. I will recommend because we have a special place called Punalur, and also the most attractive place that the special attraction is that the hanging bell, the hanging bridge. So it is one of the most attraction there.
Now let's talk about games. Do you enjoy playing games?
Yes, ma'am. I enjoyed playing. I'm enjoying playing. I enjoyed playing games. Sorry.
How often do you play games?
Actually, at present, because of my hectic duty, I don't get much time to play games. But whenever I get the chance or whenever I get the time, I play games with my kids.
Do you think adults should play games?
Yes, of course, adults have to play games because this is one of the way to get relief from their stress and their tension.
What games are popular in your country today?
Today, the most popular games in my country is that the cricket, because this one is like I'm not much familiar about this cricket, but this is the common one. I think there are 12 players, and one there will be two teams, and also one of them mean every time one team will bat, and another team will be bowling. So this is the common, the most main game in my hometown.
Now let's talk about making plans. Do you always make a plan for tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am. Always I make plan for tomorrow because it help me to arrange my duties when I go for duty. So it help me to be in time in my duties.
How do you remember your plans?
Usually, I make my plan and I will save it in my gadget, like my mobile. So I will make an alarm, and usually whenever I get the alarm and whenever I see that one, usually I know that what are the plans that I have made.
Have you ever planned a party, wedding, or other event?
Uh, uh, it's not. I mean, honestly, I can say that I never planned like that wedding or party, because when I got married, my parents are the one who arranged everything. I was working here, so they were the one who arranged everything.
Did you make any plans when you were younger that you did not complete?
Yes, mom. When I was young, actually, I planned to go for my higher studies to take my secondary schooling. So actually, I planned to go for the science group. But when I got the result, my parents told me that no need to go for that one. Just I changed my. I mean, they changed my plan. So I couldn't fulfill that my plan that I have to go for the science. Instead
Thank
of
you.
that one, I went for this one.
Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you begin, you will have 1 minute to think about what you want to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes, mom.
Describe something you liked very much, which you bought for your home. All right, remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Here, I would like to talk about a thing that I bought to my home, that which I like very much. It is a laptop. It's a MacBook Air. I bought this one last year in Lulu hypermarket, which is near to my home. And actually, I bought this one especially because of my kids' schooling and also for my work upload. So this one, actually, I choose this one because, as we know that these days, because of this pandemic, all the schools are going on online programs and online studies. So my kids can help me, can get help from this side, from this gadget. That's why I selected this one. And this laptop, this MacBook Air, has a lot of facilities like storage capacity 126 gigabyte, and also it has a Facebook and also the YouTube. And whenever they want, they can study and they can Google it. And also, moreover that, the schools, they are sending the papers and their study materials through the Facebook and also the Teams. So they always, my kids, they are opening it and they are studying from there. And this phone, I mean, this gadget, before my kids were studying from the mobile, it was a too small. The mobile was very too small, so they cannot get, or they cannot see everything, or they cannot afford it. I mean, sorry, they cannot take it, they cannot use it more properly. But when I got this small laptop, I think the kids are very happy because they can see in with full view. And also kids can upload their work, and also they can send it to their concerned teachers with full complete form.
Thank you. How many hours a day do your children spend using this computer?
My kids, they are using like more than 4 to 5 hours per a day. It depends on their class.
Thank you. We've been talking about something which you bought for your home, and now I'd like to ask you a few more general questions related to creating a nice home. Do you
Okay.
think making a home look nice always requires a lot of money?
Mom, I think for making a home with very in good manner, I don't think so that we have to spend a lot of money. Other than that, spending a lot of money, if you're keeping our home very clean and tidy up, it will look more prettier than the spending money on that. For example, when in India, most of the people are they have their own house, but they will not spend much money on that one, but just they will paint and keep it clean.
Do people in your country care more about how their home looks on the outside or how it looks on the inside?
It depends on the people, ma'am, because some of them likes to be clean, look clean to be. Some of them likes to keep their house inside clean, because I think that is the better way, because they almost all the time people are staying at home, inside the home. So it is more helpful for them. But some people think that the outside look is more attractive, because they can attract the people, and the people can say that home looks like, I mean, the house looks better. And this is one of the way of getting better comments from the neighbors.
Are there more advantages or disadvantages of having a small home?
That one's in from my perspective, I think the small house is better than better than having a big house, because the small house, it will help the people to keep it, people to maintain always. Because if they have big house and a lot of rooms, they cannot get the time to clean up, or they cannot get the time to tidy up. But in the small house, they will have only two or three rooms. They can get the time to clean up. And for example, in India, almost all the houses are small, like one kitchen and a living room and two bedrooms. So always the kids will clean their rooms, and the parents will clean their rooms.
Now let's go on to talk about different types of homes. Did people in your country live in bigger or smaller homes in the past?
In the past, people mostly they prefer to have a small house, because as I mentioned before, because of the arrangements, and also because of the money problem. Because for the big houses, we have to pay a more they have to pay a lot of money. And it was not much effective method to spend money on the houses. So most of them were preferring to have the small houses.
Do you think homes in your country will look different in the future?
Yes, of course, in the future, sure, it will look differently, because nowadays most of them are going to have the multi-story buildings, like and also like the houses, like houses in the Western culture. So I think in the future it would be different types of architectures can involve in their building house.
Thank you. That is the end of the speaking test.
Okay, ma'am.
All right, Reena, let's talk about how you did. How do you think you did? Were you happy with your performance today?
Not that much, ma'am.
Why not?
I think I have some grammar problem, and I also was, I think I was a little bit fast.
It's not really the speed that's the problem. I mean, if you listen to native speakers speak like me right now, it's not that I'm speaking slowly. I'm actually speaking quite quickly. So it's not the speed itself that's the problem. But yeah, you were speaking a little bit quickly. And what problems do you think happened because you were speaking quite quickly?
Maybe I'm not completing the sentence, and just I'm starting the next sentence before completing the first one.
So is that about the grammar, or is that about how you organized your ideas?
The idea organization.
What I noticed about your answers, Reena, is that as soon as I had asked the question, you started talking immediately.
Yeah, without thinking anything.
Yeah. So that means that you had started talking before your brain had decided what you wanted to say, which is really difficult, because then you're trying to do those two things at the same time. Why did you do that? Like, why did you feel like you had to start talking immediately?
Because maybe I want to finish it.
So is it just being nervous and anxious?
Yeah, mom.
Or is it because you're afraid that it's going to impact your fluency score?
I think because I was thinking that maybe if I'm delaying my answer, maybe the questioner, I mean the examiner can think that I don't have much words, or I don't have anything to speak. So that's why just I'm remembering rewinding my thoughts maybe.
I think it's a really common mistake that that students make. They feel like they need to start their answer immediately, but that's absolutely not the case. And it doesn't affect your fluency score at all. So when we think about fluency, right, all that means is that you can produce language automatically. It doesn't mean you can produce ideas automatically. It means you can produce language automatically. So if you are pausing and hesitating because you need to think of the grammar or the vocabulary, that's fluency. I know that I've asked you questions that you have probably never thought about before. And probably nobody's asked you these questions. I know that. And I know you're not a robot. So it's very normal to need to think first, and you will not be penalized for this. Now, obviously, you don't want to think for a very long time about your answer, but the amount of time that it takes to take a deep breath, that's very normal. That's very natural. I mean, listen to people, doing interviews on the news, right? These, native speakers on the news, they take some time to think, don't they, usually? And it's not strange. We don't think, ooh, they're not very fluent. It's just because we're human. So I think that you could improve your answers by deciding what you want to say first before you start talking.
Okay, ma'am.
I think that might also help with the grammar and vocabulary, because it's just simplifying everything. You already know what you want to say, and then your brain is just like having to do a little bit less work.
Oh.
So that's what I would recommend that you do. Now your fluency is very good, right? You stumbled a couple of times, but again, that's quite normal. There was one question in part 1. I think it was, do you enjoy playing games? And you kind of stumbled a bit. Did you worry about that? Did that sort of affect your performance after that question?
Actually, I was thinking that what I should answer, because as you said that I was really hurried to answer that one. Then once I started only, I was thinking that what I should say. So that's why.
Right. So if that happens in an actual test and you kind of make a mistake like that, I mean, just forget about it. You can't take it back and then try it again, unfortunately. But just forget about it. But look, everybody misspeaks sometimes, right? Native speakers do it all the time as well. This is only a test of your language and your ability to communicate. So if that happens, forget about it. And deciding what you want to say first is probably going to make it less likely that it's going to happen. Now, in part 2 and parts 2 and 3, were you happy with how you developed your ideas?
Part 2, I think, ma'am, I didn't follow Chris' strategy, I think, because in the first and I didn't give the example. I think because in the past and present, when we are comparing it, I would have given some example like to how it's helped my kids. I think I would have tell that one.
So what would you do differently next time so that you could do a better job of following Chris's strategy?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because I would have follow this. So I can follow that introduction first. Once I complete my introduction, then I can give the descriptions. Like then, what about the opinion? If in case I can say some opinion or anything, then I would have tell that.
So it's clear that you know what Chris's strategy is, but why didn't you follow it? And what would you do differently next time?
Next time I will practice. I will do the practice just really. Yeah. I will record and I will re-listen that one.
Yeah, so what I often tell students is whatever habits you develop when you're practicing, that's probably what you're going to do when you get into an exam situation. So if you're practicing taking good notes and following Chris's strategy, and you're practicing going through each of Chris's bullet points, then you're more likely to do that when you're in an actual exam situation. But if you just think, oh, never mind, I'll try harder next time, that's probably not going to happen, because you get nervous, right? You just get nervous and you forget those things. So it's got to be a habit. I thought you spent too much time describing the computer.
Yes, I also thinking that.
And that means that you're not showing me sort of, the range of grammatical structures that you know as well. So one thing I was really listening for with you, Reena, was your use of verbs. So you mentioned some grammar mistakes. That's your key grammar mistake is verbs. So verb tenses, subject verb agreement. And it's one of the things the examiner is definitely looking for in part 1. And in part 3, you're going to get questions about now, before now, and after now. And you weren't able to control your verb tenses. So let me give you a couple of examples of verb problems from part 1. Talking about your hometown and what you did there when you were a child. I likes to play. That's subject verb agreement. I was going there all the weekends. I went there. It's a completed event. Yeah. Would you recommend your hometown to foreign travelers? I will recommend it. That's not what I asked you. I would recommend it. Yeah, so I would recommend it. Talking about games and trying to describe cricket, there will be 2 teams. There are 2 teams. They are going, I'm trying to read my notes. So part 3, homes in the future and how they'll look different. They are going to have the multi-story buildings. Now, they are going to, be going to is for plans. And I'm asking you to speculate about the future, right? Do you think they will look different? I'm not asking you to talk about a plan for the future. I'm asking you to speculate about your guesses and your predictions for the future. So for you, Reena, that's your key grammar mistake. Now, every sentence has verbs. So if you're making mistakes with the verbs, right, that can stop you from getting a 7. And we're going to talk about your scores in a second. But there's one other area, 2 other areas of grammar, although they're quite closely connected, that you're making mistakes. And do you know what they are?
Comparison?
Say again?
When I compared the...
Yes, you made mistakes with comparisons, but there was another area of grammar where you made mistakes more consistently. Also something we have in every single sentence.
I was, instead of simple present, I was maybe present continuous.
Sometimes, yeah. So there's the verb ones, but it's articles.
Yeah, really always, I always have the problem with the articles.
And articles and plural nouns. So those 2 things sometimes go together, those 2 mistakes. So articles and plural nouns. So in terms of score then, Reena, it is going to affect your score because you had mistakes in more than half of your sentences. So that means you're not going to score a 7 for grammar. And that means that if you want a 7 overall, it's going to be really hard then to get that 7 overall. So the key area you need to work on is grammar. And I think by slowing down and taking a breath and thinking about what you want to say first, that might help you control your grammar a little bit better. So your fluency and coherence score was a 7, but it's not a strong 7. It's not a strong 7, and it's closer to it's a 7, but it's closer to a band 6 level than a band 8 level. And I think that slowing down and taking a breath, I don't mean that you have to speak slowly like this. I mean, you need to take time to gather your thoughts before you start talking. So it's a 7, but it's a low 7. Vocabulary is a 7 as well. You've got a good vocabulary, too many mistakes for an 8. Things like I planned to go for my higher studies. So
I plan to have
I plan to continue my education, or I wanted to go to university. I wanted to study, I forget what it was, this or that at university. But that was a 7. And pronunciation as well. How do you feel about your pronunciation, Reena? How do you feel about your pronunciation?
I think it was okay.
Yeah, it is. So it is at a band 7 level, but it's quite a low 7. Now, what do you think that you need to improve to increase your vocabulary score, or sorry, your pronunciation score? Any idea?
Just I can I can go for the pronunciation course that we there. I mean the course that we are offering for us.
Yeah, and that will help with some things that you're struggling with. Now, I gave you a 7, but it's a very low 7, and it was almost a 6 because of some mispronounced words like air and hair.
Oh, okay.
Air and hair. And one thing I couldn't quite catch, you're in part 2, you're saying you use, your kids use a computer for studying, and I use it for my work. Upload at home?
Upload my work.
I thought I heard upload, and then it didn't really make sense. For my work upload. To upload my work. So that's like a sentence structure problem. So it's a 7, but it's a very low 7. If an examiner gives you a 6 for pronunciation, I think that would also be fair, and it wouldn't affect your overall score. So your overall score today is 6.5 because fluency and coherence is a 7, vocab is a 7, grammar is a 6, and pronunciation is a 7. But they're quite low 7s. The other thing for pronunciation that you want to watch out for is for your voice going up and down too much. So we call this, so sometimes your voice is going up and down too much, and up and down at the wrong time. So that's something else for you to pay attention to. It's like the rhythm patterns and the intonation patterns. But I could understand you, and you did use some higher level features of pronunciation quite well. So, Reena, any questions?
Nothing much. Just I will concentrate on my grammar and the pronunciation more.
And taking a breath before you answer the questions.
Okay, I will do that.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Reena. Thanks for volunteering today.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a lovely day.
Okay.
Bye, Reena.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, bye.